Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now Bitcoin is continuing the larger bearish market as the price is now running into the final critical area of support before potentially much lower prices, while Ethereum is now running into this critical area of support and also flashing this oversold signal on the smaller time frames. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, taking a look at the 4-day Bitcoin chart, and right now things are still looking very bearish on the larger time frames, as I've already been saying every day for a long time now on the channel, because as of right now the super trend indicator is still sitting in the red, indicating a larger bearish trend, also known as a bear market. And if we're taking a look at this 2-day time frame, we can still see the price is forming lower highs and lower lows, which is what a bearish trend is. So once again, on the larger time frames, as I've been saying for a long time now on the channel, things are still looking bearish. And in fact, just over the last 1 day, the price of Bitcoin actually retested this descending line of support, which was sitting at around 52,500. And so far, we've seen pretty much an exact perfect bounce right from around 52,500. So at least for now, this line is still currently acting as support. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart, obviously just over the last 1 day, we officially broke to the downside below this short-term area of support, which was sitting in between around 56 to 57,000. And as I've been saying recently here on the channel, if we break below 56k, expect to move down towards at least 54k, but most likely into this area right here in between 51 to 53k. And so far, that's exactly where we bounced from. We dropped pretty much exactly down towards around 53,000, in fact just underneath 53,000 into this price range right here, and that's exactly where we bounced from once again. And so as of right now, this area is the area of support that I'm currently paying attention to in between 51 to 53k. But if this area breaks, we could potentially see much lower prices, because as we can see back here during the bull market, obviously near the start of this year, we can see that the gap in between this area and this area was basically a straight move to the upside. And by the way, the area that I'm talking about is basically in between 44,000 to 51,000. And so if we're looking at the volume profile indicator, we have almost no traded volume in that price range right there, in between around 44k to 51k approximately, which means if we actually break below 51k with confirmation, so candle closes below 51k, we could potentially see a quick move to the downside down towards around 44 to 45,000. Because the next significant area of support to the downside below 51k is sitting in between around 41,500 to 44,500. So expect the price to go there in the lower 40k price range if 51k breaks. Obviously, as of right now, we're still holding this area of support, so at least for now, pay attention to 51 to 53k as support, which for now is still holding. But if that area breaks, then expect to move down towards the low 40k price range. And obviously, even if that happens, that is not necessarily a bad thing, because, for example, you could look at it two ways. You could make money on the way to the downside with a short position, for example, or you could simply just buy some cheaper Bitcoin if that actually happens. But once again, for now, we have not broken this area of support in between 51 to 53k, so still pay attention to that area as support as of right now. And as for resistance, in case we see a bit of a bounce here to the upside, we could find some resistance right where we are right now at around 54,000 give or take. But if we see a further bounce here in the short term, we should now expect a lot of resistance in between 56 to 57,000. And above that area, we should expect more resistance at around 59,500 and in between 60 to 61,000. So obviously to the upside, we still have a lot of resistance if we see any sort of bounce here. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart, the DXY as of right now is forming a higher low, essentially starting to form more of a bullish trend, which is another bearish signal for the price of Bitcoin. Obviously, I've mentioned recently here on the channel, if we see a continued bullish move in the DXY, that is bearish for Bitcoin. As we can see time and time again, usually when the DXY is trending in the bullish direction, that's often bearish for Bitcoin. And usually if the DXY is trending in the bearish direction, that's often bullish or at least neutral for Bitcoin. And so once again, now that the DXY is trending back to the upside, now just forming a new higher low in the DXY, this is another bearish signal for Bitcoin, pointing towards the larger bearish market, which I've already been talking about for a long time now on the channel. But of course, from time to time during the larger bearish trend, we can see the occasional short-term bullish relief here and there during the bearish trend or bearish market. And if we're zooming into the short term, looking at the 4-hour time frame, just over the last one day, we once again invalidated this bullish divergence right here. And obviously, as I mentioned in my last video, I don't necessarily expect this bullish divergence to play out very long, considering we've seen previous bullish divergences over the last week or so basically confirm and then play out over not even one full day, and then basically invalidate with another move to the downside. And so ultimately, we have to understand that at least as of right now, we're still very much within a bearish trend with bearish momentum. But of course, during this bearish trend, once again, from time to time, we can see these slight little reliefs, which have been playing out so far as a result of these short-term bullish divergences, just over around half a day or one day before more bearish price action in the larger bearish trend. But considering the fact that the price of Bitcoin is now running into this critical area of support right here, also this line of support right here, and here on the 4-hour time frame, the RSI just recently entered into oversold territories, this is telling us that potentially over the next one day, we could see the price stabilize a little bit or potentially see a very slight bounce from support. But once again, that does not mean I am bullish right now. I do not expect really any bullish momentum right now, potentially just a bit of a slowdown in the bearish momentum, maybe for around a day or so, because if we're taking a look at the last time the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI entered into oversold territories, that was right back here, and we can see a slight little bullish relief, a bit of a bounce before eventually the continuation of the bearish trend later on. And so once again, just over the next one day, we could see a slight little relief, a bounce from this major area of support, but I do not necessarily expect a lot of bullish momentum, at least for now, because ultimately we're still very much within a bearish trend. And if you want to actually trade these moves, no matter what direction the price is going, even if the price is bearish, you can use short positions, for example. And personally, when it comes to trading Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally, I take just about all of my trades over on Bybit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit down below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link down below this video to make a Bybit account and deposit on that account, then you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. And also, if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here, which is a massive lucky draw happening right now over on Bybit, where you could potentially win up to $100,000 just by trading crypto using the link down below this video. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, first link down below this video. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there is Bitfinex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitfinex, which means if you're in the US or the UK, for example, you can sign up to Bitfinex and use Bitfinex, but you may not be able to access Bybit. And so I'll leave a link to Bitfinex down below this video as an alternative crypto exchange. And if you use that link down below this video, you can get a 5.5k deposit bonus. And also only if you use that link below this video, you can get an exclusive 10% discount on all trading fees on the exchange, only if you use that link. And so as an alternative option out there, another crypto exchange other than Bybit, there is Bitfinex. Once again, links down below if you want to claim those extra bonuses. But with that being said, taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, and obviously over the last one day, we took out a lot of this downside liquidity. First of all, we did have a decent amount of liquidity sitting just above 55,000 to around 55,500. So we took out that liquidity and then continued a further sell-off in the bearish trend. And so if we're looking at some liquidation levels right now, we do have some more liquidity in between around 51,500 to 52,500. So keep that in mind. And as for liquidity to the upside, we do have a small amount of liquidity at around 54.8k to 55k, and some more liquidity at around 57,500. But ultimately, I'd not necessarily expect the price to go up towards these much higher levels just based on this chart alone. Because obviously this is not the only chart in existence that we can pay attention to. We need to factor in other factors in the market right now, like the DXY looking bullish, which is bearish for Bitcoin, and like the fact that we're still within a larger bearish market or larger bearish trend. And obviously we have just broken below key support as well, which are all bearish indications. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the weekly time frame, right now the price of ETH is running into a critical level of support, which is basically sitting right at around 2.1k, give or take. First of all, we have this price range right here, which was previous significant resistance and is now acting as new support in between around 2,000 to around 2150. And we also have this massive ascending line of support, this massive bullish line of support right here for basically the bull market. But obviously, if we start breaking below this area, this is entering into bear market territory. And as I've already been saying for a long time, we are in a larger bearish trend anyway. And as of right now, this ascending line of support is sitting at roughly around 2150, so just above 2.1k. And this area on the price chart is not only a critical area of support based on these reasons that I just discussed, it's also a critical area of support based on this golden pocket area of support, the most important Fibonacci area on the price chart based on this Fibonacci retracement tool on the 3-day time frame. Because this Fibonacci retracement tool from this swing low at around 1500 approximately up to this swing high at around 4.1k approximately places the golden pocket area of support, the most important Fibonacci area, in between around 2150 to 2.2k approximately. And obviously, I've been talking about over the last few days, if we start breaking below around 2,500, expect a move down towards around 2150 to 2.2k. And that's exactly what we just saw over the last couple of days here, pretty much exactly as expected with a quick move to the downside. And we've found support exactly in this price range as expected. And so for now, that is the critical area of support to pay attention to, coinciding with this support here on the weekly time frame, which basically tells us, at least in the short term, possibly for the coming days, maybe even for a few weeks, it's likely that we could hold this area considering the significance of this area of support. But similar to how we held this level of support at around 2,500 for a few weeks here in the short term, obviously that did not necessarily mean we were going to reverse out of the larger bearish trend. We simply just held above that area of support for a few weeks before eventually continuing the bearish trend later on. So as of right now, when we're talking about the larger bearish trend at play, we're still very much within the larger bearish trend, as I've been saying basically every day for a long time now on the channel. But during this larger bearish trend, if we're taking a look at the daily time frame, right now the price of ETH is forming a new bullish divergence on the daily time frame, which is something to pay attention to. But as of right now, it is not yet confirmed, because we have confirmed the lower lows in place in the candle closes in the price action, but we have not yet confirmed the higher low in place in the daily Ethereum RSI. And so at minimum, this will take at least another 1 or 2 days to actually confirm, if we see 1 to 2 green candle closes confirming here in the price action, which would cement a higher low in place in the RSI, confirming the bullish divergence. And if we see those confirmation signals over the coming days, then in that case, that could result in a little bit more of a bullish relief, just a break from the larger bearish trend here in the short term, maybe something like what we saw just here, for example. But ultimately, this doesn't necessarily mean we're going to reverse out of the bearish trend. Of course, we could see a slight relief in the short term before the continuation of the bearish trend later on. But remember, at least for now, this bullish divergence has not even been confirmed at all. At least for now, it's just currently forming and still needs to be confirmed. And if we're taking a look at this 12-hour time frame, the 12-hour Ethereum RSI has just now entered into oversold territories, and this has now been confirmed with one 12-hour candle close. So we have officially entered into oversold territories on the 12-hour time frame. And the last time we did this was roughly around a month ago, basically after this massive drop to the downside. And what came next was a bit of a short-term bounce during the larger bearish trend. And if we're looking at previous examples of this oversold signal confirming here in the 12-hour Ethereum RSI over the last few months or so, over the last half a year or so, we can see multiple times this has happened. And basically every single time, this has resulted in a slight bounce in the short term during the larger bearish trend. So this is not a trend reversal signal, but it is a signal telling us that we're at potentially some sort of local low or very close to a local low in the price. And we're soon due to see a bit of a bounce in the short term in the coming days or weeks during the larger bearish trend. And if we're taking a quick look at the price of Solana on the daily time frame, right now Solana has also seen a slight drop to the downside over the last 1 day, along with the rest of the crypto market, and also the stock market, by the way, has been dumping over the last 1 day, which is potentially one of the main reasons why crypto's also been dumping. And right now Solana is running into this area of support again in between 120 to 128. And so for now, that's still the area of support to pay attention to. But if we start to see a confirmed break below 120, so for example, candle closes on the daily time frame below 120, and especially if we flip this area of support into new resistance, then in that case, expect a move down towards this next area of support to the downside, which is sitting in between around $100 to $106. So basically, if we break below 120 with confirmation, then expect a continued move to the downside down towards the lower $100 price range. And we can look at what we saw previously in this price range back during the bull market, basically near the start of the year. Obviously, we saw a very quick move to the upside during this price range right here, when we went from this area of support up to this next area right here, which means if we break below 120, expect a quick move to the downside, because usually a quick move to the upside during a certain price range also results in a quick move to the downside if we start entering into that price range below 120. But remember, bearish price action is not always a bad thing, because during bearish price action, we can still make money as traders with short positions, for example. And also that gives us another opportunity to accumulate cheaper coins in the market. And also, at least for now, we have not yet broken below 120. So keep that in mind. This is still an area of support to pay attention to, at least as of right now. And for resistance, we still have a lot of resistance to the upside. First of all, this area starting at around 138 to 139 and going up towards around 143. And so overall, just in the imminent short term, while the price of Solana is still in this area of support, it's likely that we're going to see a slowdown in the bearish price action during this area, because basically this is the area where a lot of buyers are currently buying Solana. But if those buyers get exhausted, basically if we run out of buyers in this price range and there's too many sellers and we break below 120, once again, that would be a very bearish signal. But for now, there's still buyers currently supporting the price in this price range. So just in the imminent short term, maybe for a couple of days or so, expect the price to be supported here. But the shorter term trend for now is currently looking a little bit more bearish. Basically, Solana is just following what Bitcoin and Ethereum are doing. But overall, the larger trend for Solana, at least for now, while we're still above 120, is basically a massive sideways price range with relatively horizontal highs and horizontal lows, at least for now. And once again, if you want to trade these moves in the price of any crypto, check out those links down below this video to claim those extra bonuses. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions. And the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.